and let me make myself bigger. It's great to meet you. The #1 most requested feature in HoneyBook is here. Global Automations is here with Conditional Logic. My name is Diana. I'm a HoneyBook Pro. I'm also a systems architect, and let me tell you, I've been playing with this and they have worked so hard on this feature. I'm so excited to share it with you. Majority of you already have this in your account. If you don't fret, you're gonna get it. And honestly, I'll keep updating this video because they're gonna keep building out amazing things to go on top of this. So let me share my screen and we will get going. The #1 thing you're going to notice is everyone's going to ask, how do I know if I have it? So when you go to the Automations tab up top, so this is your home screen, here's my demo account, and then you're gonna go to the Automations here up top, and you'll know immediately if you have it by saying Automations and Activity. So previously, you would have had 2 columns, one here that was lead forms and one here that was for contact forms. If you have Automations and Activity tabs, that means you have the new global automations. So congrats, welcome. If you don't, again, don't fret, you're going to get it really, really soon. So I just wanted to at least walk you through one automation of how to do it so that you're not confused, because change is hard. So I wrote down some notes and let's do it together. Let's do an automation in which someone fills out the contact form and then they book a discovery call. If they book a discovery call, they are going to move to the meetings or discovery call pipeline. If it's not, then we'll send an email reminding them to book a call. So let's do that. We're going to go to the automations page. The #1 thing you need to have done before this is all of those emails need to have been templated. Your discovery call session has to be created. Any files and brochures you want to do has to be created. If you have not, don't come to this screen. Pause this video, come back to me later. You must have that in order to automate. Otherwise, you're going to get really frustrated in the next coming minutes. Okay, let me make myself smaller so you can actually see what's important. Create automation. So the #1 thing you're gonna notice is that this trigger is already so different than what we see before. So let me orient you. On the left-hand side where it says automation name, you can name this anything you want. So let's say discovery call. And previously we were running automations from beginning to end in one automation. So all the way from when someone inquires all the way until they ask for a review in one automation. Some of you, I know, break it up into smaller chunks, but that's essentially what we're going to do now. We're going to break everything into smaller chunks based on a trigger. So let's click on the first card here. This is called a trigger with this little thunderbolt. And on the right-hand side, it will tell you what is a trigger. So perhaps project move to completed. This is a good one if you want to send a email to ask for a review after project's been moved to completed. Or in this one is lead form submitted. That's the one we're going to use today. After a contract has been signed, these are normal triggers that you should be pretty familiar with if you've been using it in the past. If this is new to you, great. You're learning along with everybody else. So again, here are some triggers for you to think through as you go through and start building your automation runs. In this scenario, we are going to select lead form submitted for all project types. So let's pretend this was a florist that I made up, right? And maybe they have wedding clients and milestone clients, like an anniversary or a birthday or something like that. So everyone who comes in through this lead form needs to book a discovery call. So therefore it is all project types. And then you choose the lead form. Again, this is my demo account, so I don't have a lead form in here. Okay, once the lead form is submitted, we are going to send an email. So I'm going to click this plus symbol and then that I selected an action. So let me do it again so you can see it. So I'm gonna select the plus symbol, then it gives me 3 options. I can have action, wait, or condition. In this case, we are actually sending an email, so therefore that's an action. So I'm going to send an action, and on the right-hand side, I choose what the action is. In my scenario, I'm just sending an email. I do not have a smart file attached to it. I don't need to create a task or move the pipeline. So I'm going to send an email, and it's going to ask me which email. So I'm going to say, welcome with the discovery call link. Again, this has to have been pre-templated. So once you send the email immediately after. And then what happens? Then we go into a fork. This is called conditional logic. So you're going to hit the plus and you're going to hit a condition, because now we're saying if someone booked a call, then I want to move them to a pipeline so that I know that everyone on that pipeline stage booked a call. And if they didn't, then I want to send a follow-up email. So once I've clicked condition, on the right-hand side, it's going to ask me what the condition is. So I'm basing this condition on whether or not a session was scheduled. And then it's going to ask me which session type. So I don't want all of them. I just want the inquiry call. Okay. Then if they did book a call, then I'm going to say take an action, right? What's the action if they booked a call? We want to move the pipeline stage to the meeting stage. That's it. And you can drag it around. Isn't that fun? So you can also make it smaller so you can see the whole thing. All I'm doing is scrolling. I'm moving my scroll button to do that. So if they did not book a call, you're going to hit no. And I am going to wait 1 day. And then I'm going to send an action and send an email. Which email? I'm going to follow up and just make sure that they meant to not book a call. So just in case they wanted to, right? So I'm going to wait a day. I'm going to send an email. And now I have another condition, because if on the right-hand side, my condition is session is scheduled, I'm still waiting for them to make that decision. So now the condition is when the session is scheduled, don't forget which one. I'm going to choose inquiry. If they did book the call from this follow-up email, then I am going to move the pipeline stage to meeting. If they did not, then I want to wait maybe 3 more days. I'm going to try again, and then I'm going to send an action to send another email, and I'm going to remind them again. So I'm going to say, let's see, follow up. Ooh, so many emails. Not the right fit, consultation prep. Wow, so many emails I have in here. So follow up number 1, let's just pretend, just so we don't waste your time. So I'm gonna send 1 more follow up. Again, if they did book the call from this 3rd email I'm sending, then I wanna move them to the pipeline for meeting. And if they did not, then maybe you don't do anything, right? So maybe the action is create a task and remind me to archive this account, this project, because you're just done chasing them, and then you hit save. Oops, sorry, the condition is session was scheduled. That is 1 automation. So now you have, we'll review it again. If the lead form was submitted, when the lead form is submitted, immediately after, if there is no wait in between here, then it is immediate. Then we're going to send an email that has a discovery call link, right? Which email? Now, if the session is scheduled, then I want them to move to a pipeline. If they did not schedule, then I want to wait a day and I want to send a second email, follow-up email on the right-hand side. Then if the session was scheduled from this follow-up email, then I want to move them to the pipeline. If they did not, oops, sorry, let me make it so you can read it. If they did not, I want to wait 3 days, right? And send a 3rd email. If they did schedule from that 3rd email, then move them to the pipeline. And if they did not, then I want to archive this project. That is an automation run. And then for you, typically we would keep going from here, but not anymore. What you're going to do is that's the end of this automation, because you're going to have the call. And then after the call, you're going to have a series of steps that happen. So maybe for you, you're going to manually send a proposal, or maybe for you, you're going to do something else. And so therefore, instead of waiting like X amount of time for something to happen, nothing happens. And now let's just say this was a wedding client, and so we want to send a brochure to wedding clients after the call so that they can view their options before submitting a proposal. So therefore I'm going to do a new one, but I just want wedding brochure post discovery call. Okay, which means that the trigger is going to be after the session ends. Which project type is this going to be for? Well, now I'm going to choose wedding only. And which session type? I want this to be after the inquiry call that we just talked about. And when do I want it? I want it immediately after that is over. What am I going to do? I am going to select an action, which is on the right-hand side, send a file via email. Now it's going to ask you which file. So now I'm going to just say, whatever, I want a brochure of some kind. So let's do a untitled brochure. Doesn't that sound fun to you? And then we're going to select the email that pairs with that brochure. So I'm going to do a brochure email here, brochure after call with my untitled brochure. It's very fancy. From here, now I'm waiting for them to make a selection so I can send an invoice and contract. So I'm going to go to condition. And what's the condition? The condition is a task was completed. That's not true. I want file was completed, because if the file was completed, that means they made a selection in my brochure. So here I'm going to select which file, which is untitled brochure. It's coming from this email. So that's why it's giving me that option. Now, if they did, then I want to take an action and create a task. Now I need to send proposal for myself. And I also want to move the pipeline stage to proposal send. Well, no, not yet. So nothing happens, right? So we don't need to move a pipeline stage. But if they did not, then I want to remind them to make an action. So I'm going to wait 1 day, and I want to remind them. I'm going to send the service file again, and I want to remind them with my untitled brochure why they haven't chosen me yet. It's hard to say, guys, with the title like that. So I'm going to say wedding planner proposal, brochure of some kind. It's fine. You guys know, mentorship proposal. And I'm going to send them an email that says follow up. So I'm going to follow up an email. This is what happens when I just mess around in here. So I'm going to send another follow up about this brochure. I'm going to wait a day. And again, I'm waiting for them to complete that file. And so it's the same logic as before. But what I wanted you to know is that this now becomes a second automation for this step, because what's the next thing I'm going to do? I'm going to manually send a proposal, an invoice, and a contract. Therefore, I don't need to continue this automation. So I'm going to save. And my next automation is going to be what happens after they pay, or what happens after they sign a contract, right? Because that's a new trigger. So you're just going to keep building this out. In order for you to know this, it is going to be so helpful for you to understand your client journey. I have a freebie. If you don't have it, it helps you walk through these steps, because you need to identify the fact that you wanted to send an email with that discovery call link. You wanted to send a brochure with the services you selected. Now apply it to yourself. In order for you to do this and apply it in HoneyBook, you're going to need those elements. You are welcome to follow me, reply to this email, reply to this post, however you found this video. Just put it in the comment section, ask questions. I'm happy to work with you. This is the beginning of very exciting things, and I cannot wait to see what else comes from it. Happy automating!